So we are back here for another episode of Fire Breathing Rob. If you're listening, please like, subscribe, share. People listening on the radio, we greatly appreciate it. We have a very, very good guest today. He's a returner, one of my favorites to talk to because he always brings the pizzazz and he always lights it up. They call me the fire breather, and he always brings fire to our shows together. Maliko Sensei here on Fire Breathing Rob. He's usually in Hawaii, but he's in a little bit of a hiatus in a different place. We won't give out where you are now because it's not our business. But you are in a different place in Hawaii. But you do have a new book out. It's Mastering the Gym Within, The Journey of Cups. Now, last time we spoke, it was not out. Now it is out on Amazon, wherever you get your books sold, your books in general. Wherever you get, I just fumbled and stumbled over that, but so I'll shut up and move on. Maliko Sensei, thanks so much for your time today. It's always a pleasure.
It's my pleasure too. I get to, my book is finally published. It's been 20 years in a process, only because I moved around so much and was going through life. And yet different editors I had, they said, well, that's a little bit too much. I said, so they kept cutting it down. So now it's a small book that packs a punch.
Yeah.
No, I like to say that because there's no extra in here. There's no BS. It's like, these are the stages. This is what in all of my training, when I come down to, I said, what's the essence? What's the essence of being a human being? And especially in our time, in modern times, we have all these very advanced teachings available to us from China, from all over the world. And what are we using to keep ourselves grounded and focused and centered? We use these tools and we make it fun. It's not about going and, just always working. When are you going to find it? I know people are doing yoga for 10, 20, 30 years. They're not enlightened. They're not happy. I mean, maybe they are, they're content and they're teaching. And I love that. But when do you get it? You're going to seek the rest of your life? Or you're going to be a finder at one point. And once you find and you found, do you have to go backwards? I mean, I'm not saying I'm not open to learning. The idea of the gym within is you have to have an open mind. It's like Thich Nhat Hanh, which is not Thich Nhat Hanh, Suzuki would say is beginner's mind. Mushin, mind of no mind. I mean, I think that most of the population nowadays lives life in their mind. And I still do off and on. I'm not saying I got it. I wrote this. This is how I got through. And to be able to live, my life, to be as old as I am now. I thought I was gone years ago.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that are really gone, especially in the past 3 years. They've went off their rockers, but that's another story for another day. I want to get into the book in general. But even before we get into that, we actually should do a recap for people that are watching this interview for the first time that don't even know anything about you, that are just hearing about you and your story. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself as we start off the interview in general and what got you into all this.
Yeah, excellent. Even as a young boy, especially growing up in the city, there was, we used to fight a lot. There was, I don't know how to say it. I mean, I could hit it from so many angles, I was a wild kid. In my later years, in retrospect, I realized that I didn't feel love. And because of that, I was angry. And I didn't know that I was angry, and I didn't know that all the miscellaneous wrong that I've done as a kid, just like little punk stuff. I didn't know. I was doing it because I wanted attention and I was angry. And so I got interested in the area that we lived in. There were some people who were involved in the martial arts. And I'm talking about the late 60s, early 70s. And that always intrigued me. Plus, I felt like, oh, I'd be able to defend myself more. And not only between one attacker, but maybe many. And at that time, Bruce Lee was coming out. I'm going into a little story now. I hope that's okay. But Bruce Lee was coming out, and that was a big fad. And at that time, I was already practicing a year or two. So at the age of 13, 14, that's when my formal education in the martial arts started. But as time went on, I made black belt, second degree, third degree. I started learning more about you're doing this to protect yourself, but the best defense is awareness. But then I got involved with the Tai Chi, I got involved with the meditation, yoga in 78, 82. I went to Boston. I studied macrobiotics at the Kushi Institute on 17th Station Street. I still remember the name. And there I met my Aikido teacher, Bill Gleason. And then he was, just like the macrobiotics, was talking about the energies of yin and yang. I've always been like a deep thinker, always digging deep in the mountain for, the essence. And the thing that made the most sense to me was this idea of balance in yin and yang, properties, or the way food would be grown, the way our activities are, the way that we would eat. And that fascinated me. And then when I got involved with Aikido, and Bill Gleason, studying 10 years in Japan, training all the time. He learned to play shakuhachi, which a lot of Japanese don't know. He studied the art of kotatama, which is the spirit of sound and words. And that's how Sensei, how he, through his Shinto religion, came to being a samurai and has done a lot of damage in his time. Maybe protecting the emperor, but he changed his art form to be the art of peace. The art of harmony. Aiki is to harmonize, so it's the way to harmonize. Karate, Aikido, and then of course you have the Tai Chi was more about mindful meditation. And I wanted to be more balanced. I was a really strong karate practitioner, still am. I did things when I look back at it 40 years ago. I say, how did I put my head through 3 cinder blocks and still be coherent? I'm saying this so the audience, knows that I'm not just making this stuff up. This isn't something that just came out. This is me over 50, going on 55 years of training, and still training and still learning and still going on and putting a white belt on, the mind of a beginner, still emptying my cup so I can go out and fill the cup. I mean, all these things started making sense to me. And when I would read a book, I would always just derive the meat of the book, all the other stories and how they got there. But I was always one that I just wanted, tell me, let's go right to it. No story. But I realize story is important, to know where we come from and where we're going. And so I loved, my school, Ishinru, one of the styles that I studied and still, practice is Ishinru. And Ishinru means one's heart, one's mind way. And, over the years, that's kept sinking in, after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and now 50 years. What is my way? How, when I do blend my mind and my heart, what does it say I need to, how does the mind and heart culminate something that you can express through your body? So, to me, it was a way to channel my energy back in the day. It was a way to get to feel more peace and harmony within myself first. And then I just started sharing that. I had several dojos over the years. I've taught extensively through the United States at different periods of my life. And then I lived in Hawaii for, over 15, well, close to 15 years. And I always felt like that was special because I always felt that in my art form and what I created was tri, as in three, or trinity of mind, body, heart. Hara. The hara is the word in Chinese. We'd say the lower dantian, the middle dantian, the upper dantian. Anyone who studies Tai Chi or Qi Kong knows that phrase. In the Japanese art form, it would be hara, Hara. And they're all in a way, and I got all this through my teacher who lived in Japan. And he was a very deep thinker as well, Sensei Bill Gleason. And, he told me that in Japan, it's and not a lot of people know this, but, the old schoolers do, is that the word hara, literally translated, Rob, means stomach. But if you think about it, your stomach is the place of assimilation of food, right? So whatever we get, we digest it. Well, the heart is also how are we digesting our emotions? Are we filled with anger or fear, or and then also how do we digest our thinking, our thoughts? So the idea is that, and what they would say is that the hara is synonymous with the heart and mind. So anytime, like when we practice and do what we call a ki, and a ki, and I think O Sensei said it's when we're bringing spirit and matter together. Yep. It's like that, and it's like a combustion. So ideally, this takes practice. It takes being mindful. It means coming back to self-awareness all the time, because it's so easy in our culture to get pulled away. Someone hurts your feelings, so you're feeling a little bit down here. You didn't, the goal that you had set for the end of the week didn't happen. So that screws with the mind field. So the mind field's doing this, your heart field is doing that, and your body's just trying to hold it all together. And that's why we do yoga. We do different practices, Tai Chi, Qigong, breath work. We do these practices to, keep our mind, body, heart. And now, as we're going through all these, I wouldn't say just obstacle, but trying time. We're in the middle of a revolution. And so everything has to break down in order to build up. And in order to do that, if I don't have a strong foundation in myself as a human being, at my age or where I am in my life, then things are going to get more and more chaotic, and I'm not going to be able to deal. But the way that I deal, and that's why, this year has just been, empty the cup, fill the cup, stir the cup, you be the cup. It for me, it's a way to come back to the here now, and it's a way to ground myself, center myself, realign myself. We could call it recalibrating. That's a really good word. Did you recalibrate today? Some days you go out, and if you're a car racer, you're checking your tires every day. You're calibrating them. You want them all to be what you want them to be. Same way with our being, this energy of light, I want to say, human beings, we're all energy. We're capacitors for energy. And when you learn these ancient techniques and practice them, your capacitor gains more voltage. I like to say, how much voltage could you put through a skinny wire? How much, and if you're going to put more voltage, you better have a thicker wire. And that's what happens when we practice. We're keep the body honed in terms of flexibility and strength with good reflexes. And so we harness that we can hold more power and we don't burn out or, just explode.
Listen, that's true, 100%. And you brought a lot of information there. And I
That was
hope people,
a download.
that was a sermon. And I do hope people either listen to that when they listen to it, or if they have to go back and really listen to that again, because again, you did bring a lot of good information out to the people there. I'm Maliko Sensei here on Fire Breathing Rob. Again, for people that are listening that didn't hear our first interview, I hope they go out and buy the new book. It is out. So I hope you go and get that again. Mastering the Gym Within. I almost said a different title, but it's Mastering the Gym Within. So I do hope people go out and get that at their local bookstore, at Barnes and Nobles, Books A Million, or Amazon. We try to put Amazon last. I know that everybody goes to Amazon, but we try to get the other people there first because it is more of a local yokel kind of stores first before we head to the big box of Amazon.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Anyways, yep. We'll move forward with that. So Maliko, talk a little bit about why you wanted to write this book. I know you've been doing this for many, many years upon end. And why did you feel like putting your life story in, book form was best, and also an audio book form for that matter too?
Yeah. I think the reason why I'm going to backtrack just a little bit, then I'll answer your question. But in terms of where you get it, the Amazon, you can get it today, tomorrow. You can get it on ebook, you can get it on Kindle. So that's why.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, why? In my own training and growing up, I think I was looking for something more. And what I mean by that more is what is the lowest denominator of human beings? And I kept saying, I said, there's so many philosophies, religions, ways here and there. And I kept like digging in. I started probably in my late teens or 20s, but I kept, that was always in my mind. Everything that I would talk about, everything that I would share was about how to keep the human inspired, how to keep me inspired. Where would I go? And what was true? What was not true? And the deeper I looked into it, the lowest common denominator between all mankind is that we have a mind, we have a heart, and we have a body. How do we use it? And are they together? Are they friends? Are they on the same page? Which is, to me, and it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what language you speak, where you live, we all have that. So I kept going, digging deeper into that. And again, there's a lot of philosophies out there, and I just didn't want to be anyone. I'm coming up from the streets, pretty much. I guess my life from the outside may not have looked like I was in survival mode, but I was in survival mode. And at that, I felt that, like even lately, I'll say to spirit or God, whatever, and I'll just say, you didn't keep me alive this long for no reason. You didn't put me through all this stuff for no reason. And when I speak, I want to speak with people, not at them. And so why did I create it? It's just always been in my heart. It's like, what does, Ishinru really mean? Living from your heart, living from, having your mind and your body together. And I'll tell you what, and that's why I like, it's like dance, but maybe with a little bit more intensity. Because what I found, if you ever were defending yourself and you got whacked, it hurts. Right? And so your presence, your sense of awareness becomes more attuned because you don't want that to happen again. And then when, you know, over the years, you get more and more like microscopically aware. And like anything else that has the yin and the yang, you know, the great at the front, the great at the back. And what that means is that it's all about balance. It's not this way or that way. It's what's the middle way. And what's the middle way in the here now? Because what was the middle way 5 minutes ago may not be the one, you know, the here now. It might not be the present moment truth. You know, it's always shifting. And I think most people can know that or understand that in terms of, like I always advise people or suggest that they question their belief systems. And I found out myself over the decades. I would believe this and swear on it and da 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 for 5, 10, maybe 2 decades. And then when I go in and say, was that true for me anymore? And it wouldn't be. You know, we're always metamorphosing. So I'd like to live in the grace. I like to live in the excitement. I try, you know, the old expression, fake it until you make it. And some days I won't feel really happy, but I'll fake like I'm happy. And in some ways, I feel like that's a hypocrite, and I'm like, no, I found that it does work. If I keep myself in the negative thinking, what do I get? More negativity to be negative about. And if I can stay in a place of gratitude and honoring my life, and when it comes down to the nitty gritty, realizing just doing this is a miracle. How does it get from here to here in a nanosecond? How does it do that? How can a musician track 2 or 3 parts of their body at the same time while they're playing? That's a miracle. And Einstein said is that life is a miracle, and you can look at life in 1 or 2 ways, as though everything is a miracle or that nothing is a miracle. And the way that you look at life, you perceive life, that's how your life is enriched. So you think about the glass being half empty, ooh, I can't wait to be full again. Then you're going to get more of that, to reiterate. But if you see it, glass, the glass half full, I'm thinking of you. You probably, I don't know if you ever heard this story about the little boy, and it's Christmas, and they're opening up the presents. I think he's 8, 10 years old, and they say, "Hey, your gift is in the barn." And so he goes in, and they see a pile of shit, donkey. And he goes in and he starts digging. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, there must be a surprise in here. It's like, and that's how we grow. At my age and how I am, I would say constantly evolving is one, accepting what is. Not that I have to agree with it, but accept it, because I am realizing, and I've been counseled many times, is look back at your life, reminisce, and look at all the hard times that you had when, maybe you just thought that you were going to lose it, or, it was just like the worst day of your life. And it's at those times when I grew the most. And I believe that. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I just felt like I always wanted to know more. And at my age now, I feel like I'm a late bloomer. I'm over, I'm close to 70 years old.
Listen, better late than never. All right.
That's what my mother always told me. But the thing is, now I feel like I'm ready. I had to do a lot of inner growth. I had to come to love myself in a deeper way. And now I believe, I've always believed this, and but now I believe that I'm living it. And I still get off. I'm not saying I got it all together, but I'm a work in progress, and I believe we all are. And I think that, you know, having compassion for myself was a huge door opening, that it allowed me to put my guard down a little bit. And with my guard down, I would let people in a little bit more, and share these practices. I see everyone who's busted up physically, mentally, or emotionally do a practice. You know, it's ideally if you do like a 2 or 3 day thing, it more sticks. But even, you know, an hour and a half session, you realize, wow, I haven't felt this at ease in a long time. Oh, wow, he said some things that I'm going to contemplate. And that's my hope, that, you know, when people read this book at all, that they start to look at life differently in terms of holistic fitness. You know, it's more about how are you in your, you know, what is your perception of spirituality? What is your perception of your mind field and heart and body? And question, are they working together today? You know, when we go out of the house and we're going to, you know, maybe whatever we have to do, take the shower, brush your teeth, comb your hair, you know, but when do we actually go out the door? And just before, how is my mind field? Am I in a positive, you know, field, or am I being more negative? Am I cynical? How is my heart feel? Do I feel open, kind, generous, and receptive? And physically, do I have anything to work at? And then if something's a little bit off, let's get it together. All right. Groom. I guess you would call it an internal grooming, and then go out the door. And every day is different when we do that.
Well, again, a lot of great information for people to really digest. And that's why we bring you on. And I hope to bring you on again down the road to talk about some men's issues. I know we spoke about that a while back when we had you on. I believe it was like 3 or 4 months ago, but I think it's always good to digest into that, because everybody speaks about women's issues, but there's not a lot of talk about men's issues. But let's just finish this off with the book. So we've talked about a lot today so far. What do you hope that people that read the book and get the book in general, obviously before they read it, what do you hope that they learn?
That whatever goes on in their mind will show up in the body.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people meditate. Fantastic. And I have found for myself, when I shake up and clear my body and metaphorically come out and release it all, then I'm more empty, right? And then I open up to receive what I need to know now. Not all the stuff that I did know, but what do I need to know now? And or for today. And then stir the cup, meaning that check in. Is my mind, heart, and body on the same page? Are they aligned, integrated? And then go out and trust life. Trust life. Trust that the universe has your back. But if you don't feel whole inside, you're always going to be skeptical. You're always going to be looking over your shoulder. You know, fear is going to be the lens that you look through instead of what is good in each situation. And we all got a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of work to do. I really appreciate how you are you know, you're I guess a spokesperson. You're bringing people that you meet who you feel have quality information, are integral to the peoples. And I hope all the people, well, they keep coming back to your show, so they know that. But, and also as we're coming into this new year, and we all know that a lot of us have been more and more isolated because of COVID, et cetera. But find out what is your gift. And people say, well, how do you know what your gift is? Well, I know myself, and I've brought a lot of people through it, many, many people, is that it's good if you could get counsel of how, you know, quiet time, someone guiding you through a guided meditation to check into with yourself. But really and honestly and sincerely, what do you love? What do you love about life? Because what you love, what Rob loves, I might really like doing the art form that I do. He may not want to do that. He loves, whatever else. We all have a piece of the puzzle. And this is the time, especially now we're going into fall. Fall is the time when energy goes out of the trees, down, leaves fall, and it's time for introspection. Find out what you love. And then if you could really dial that in, whatever it is, then try to find a living doing what you love. And then the world, then work's not here and life is here. It's all together. You're a more integrated person. And when you become that, you model how to be that. That's pretty much my, that's what I would share, that people get out of this, that they realize that they are much, much more than they ever thought they were. And I'm talking to doctors, lawyers, politicians. I'm saying that this kind of information is in a way groundbreaking, and it's something for everyone. It's like, you can't know it unless you do it. You got to feel it inside. I would like to share something about this, the cover of this. This was shot on Kauai. And I also have that online course that I created on Kauai, 40 videos. It's 7 hours of content, and so many different practices of the yin and yang, doing soft practices, working on practices to release bent up, pent up energy, inspiration, quotes, meditation, sound work. A-E-A-O-U is an awesome one to integrate, to bring balance into the internal part of ourselves. And I guess also I'd say is start to pay attention to the interior of your body. And maybe I'll end with this too, is that at one point, I'm doing all my, talking, and one mentor of mine says, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And you love life and all. And they asked me, is your love mental or is it visceral? That blew my mind. I didn't know how to answer that. But I went in after that conversation. At different times, I'd go in and I'd go through each toe, each finger, each part of my body. And it took a while. I mean, there's a lot of parts of our body, even the systems. And I asked it, is it in love with being in my body? And they all say yes. So then I knew that I embody my love. It's just not words. And that's what I would hope everyone would get back to. Let's all be authentic. Let's be honest with ourselves and then others. And look where we can make a difference. Find a niche that you have, whether it's in the men's work, the women's work, politics. What do you love? Maybe you love challenging people. Maybe you love, challenging belief systems. Well, go out and challenge them. I know myself, I'm not here to make things smooth. I'm here to wake things up. I'm a shaker and a fire. Yeah, I mean, I like to think that the fire is behind me, and I want to shine from the inside out. And let's see where it goes. Thank you, Rob. You asked good questions.
Well, it's not hard to really interview you, Maliko, because like I said, you always bring a lot of great information out to the people listening. We're always grateful to have you on the program. As we end with the last 5 minutes, can you just tell people where they can find more about you if you want to tease the website, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be, where people can follow more of your work, follow more videos, whatever it may be?
In a nutshell, they can go to my website, TRI-Hara.com. I am on Facebook, Twitter, and all them. I haven't used it much. Like I said, I'm a late bloomer. I'm just getting hip to that now. I've always been behind the what's happening now. Like back in the day with bell bottoms, remember that? I wouldn't wear them, but as it started fading out, I thought, hey, they feel pretty good. I didn't want to be like everybody else.
Right.
You know, remember the fanny packs? I love those fanny packs. You know, you put around your waist and all.
Right.
And I didn't when they came out. I didn't do it. I didn't want to be like everyone else. But now I'll wear it. You know, it's very convenient not to have things in your pocket. Um, and also with the internet, you know, I'm just getting hip on it now, and I just think that we all need help, no matter who we are. No one stands alone. We're here to keep each other up, not drag each other down. Um, so you see, there's going to be out more and more. You know, the Instagram and here you're gonna be hearing things, and I'm hoping that people that listen to this and actually get the book, that maybe they could put a what do you call that? Revive, not revive. What do you call it? I'm drawing a blank up here.
Review.
Ah, thank you, Rob. You saved me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power in the breath for healing, for getting behind yourself. And I know, at least for me, and I've seen it many times, when you honor the breath as it's coming in, just like sometimes you say grace at meals, you're honoring that food that came your way that will give you substance to live in next, you know, another day or two, and then we do it again. How about the breath? We can't live, you know, even minutes without the breath.
Right.
So, but honor the breath. And when you honor the breath, and the breath itself has intelligence, right? The universe has intelligence. When you breathe in and you're honoring that breath and bringing it to areas of concern, inside and spirit realizes it, and your life becomes enriched even more. I know it. It's a lot of this stuff is, you could call it metaphoric, but at the same time, it's so true. It's so close to us, we can't see it. That's why everyone's looking outside themselves. And now with all the chaos that's going on in the world, we don't know what's going to happen next month, you know, in the next year, let alone, you know, 10 years from now. But let's hold on and listen to the intelligence that we have inside, because if I don't be me, that part of the puzzle is going to be missing. And if you don't be you, that part of the puzzle is going to be missing. So let's be integral and bring our part, you know, that spontaneous truth out, and see how things unfold.
Yeah. And we'll end there again. Maliko Sensei, I hope people go out and buy the book. A lot of great information in this interview, but there's more great information in the book.